What's up, everybody?
Good morning. Good morning, Matt.
Morning,
Hello.
Jen.
Hey, who are these other people here?
Oh,
We've
look at
got
how they did it.
guests.
Guests.
Hello.
Hey.
Guests.
We
Wait,
have
I gotta write the
Chris and
command.
Andrew.
There we go.
Chris and Andrew from Many Worlds Tavern.
What's up, guys?
Good morning,
Welcome.
Chris. Good morning, Andrew.
Good morning.
Over in chat, we've got Valake and Lurker getting an early start on the chat life. Good morning, y'all. Chris and Andrew, I asked chat. I'll ask y'all. If you had to describe your week as a campy creature, how would you describe it? Do you know the
Please
creature?
go ahead, Andrew.
As a campy creature?
A campy creature.
Let's say we weren't super familiar and we needed a quick refresher on the campy
You could be
creatures.
the blob,
Okay.
the kaiju. You know, two
Mhm.
opposite ends of the
Okay.
spectrum there.
Okay.
You could be the vampire
Okay.
or the invader.
I wish I had vampire energy,
The
but I
invader.
feel like I'm the blob most days.
Okay. You might be, peak werewolf.
Oh, okay. Werewolf.
Or the invisible man.
Ooh.
Oh. You know,
I heard some O's.
I think
You
I'm
might be
gonna
the
go
swamp
invisible
creature,
man.
dragging everybody down.
Oh,
I thought swamp creature.
Swamp creature.
I was gonna say swamp creature. I just wanted to make sure. I'm between swamp creature and the blob, I think.
Or if
That's
we
my-
below the blob, there's also the mummy. You're actually just.
there you go.
Oh yeah, that's the how many? That's 8
Wait a
of the 10. We're missing the beast.
Okay.
I'm obviously feeling like the
And
beast today, but that's the question. Is not directed at me.
Matt's in beast mode. All right.
Awesome.
And then last we would
One of
have
us.
the Demigorgon. Are you feeling a little
Nice.
upside down?
Nice.
It is kind of an upside down kind of week.
D&D first edition.
What do we got? So we got Andrew on what?
Andrew
Swamp creature
Sticky
energy?
Blob?
Andrew, I think is blob.
I'll be the blob, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, Chris. What you got?
I think for me, I think it's Invisible Man. I
Mm.
think last week was like my wife's birthday, but it became like a birthday week, and there was a lot of people, which is cool. But also this week is like, all right, let's just Invisible Man it for a few days.
Yeah. Let's just less.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I think I'm gonna go Demigorgon.
You're just feeling a little upside down.
Demogorgon.
Listen,
Feeling a
I
little
have
upside down.
the solve for all of your creature problems. Some instant coffee.
Oh.
Presented by our sponsor for today. No, I'm just kidding. Not sponsored. So Many Worlds Tavern, we introduced Chris. I got to point this way. Chris and Andrew. Chris and Andrew
Yep.
are the founders and the geniuses behind Many Worlds Tavern, which is a coffee company. You guys want to tell us a little bit about Many Worlds Tavern?
Yeah.
Go for it,
Me?
Chris. Yeah.
Okay. Many Worlds Tavern. We make coffee for game night. That's the tagline. Andrew and I have experience in coffee as baristas and management. And Andrew is we met at Boomtown Coffee, which is like our sister company to Many Worlds.
Yeah, here
So-
in Houston.
Yeah, so we work in the roastery, and pandemic hit, and we had to close one of our 3 cafes. And I think for the longest time, it was like the long-term plan was, now we're going to make a cafe and then slowly expand and then make another cafe and then slowly expand. I don't know if you guys know, but making cafes is pretty hard.
Yeah.
Mm.
Too
Mhm.
hard. And so after that it was like, maybe we should try to think of something else.
Yeah.
Um,
So Many Worlds was definitely born of COVID. We definitely reevaluated what we want to do next, and we wanted to do something, kind of near and dear to both our hearts, and bring something awesome to the world out of COVID. And so yeah, here we are.
Yeah.
So you're really like new. I was gonna say like man, I've seen you like advertising and pumping up the sponsorship stuff all over the place, and I was like, this is like a new initiative, but no, it's like the whole thing is new.
The
A
whole
few
thing
months,
is new. Yeah. I think we launched the website mid-June.
Jen, we were in
Yeah.
quick. We
Yeah.
were like,
Got in there.
we put that order in July.
You guys
Yeah,
are our first.
You
are some of our first.
You found us pretty soon. Yeah.
What?
We did something right. Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
You guys, you think they're in the first 100?
Probably.
They might be.
Yeah.
So
think
this
I
is
did not get a numbered box. I have a
I
complaint
know.
to lodge.
Lurker asked a question. Coffee for game night. Does that imply quality decaf offerings? Well, it's funny
Wow,
that you should
so
mention that.
funny.
Let's make some decaf right now. So
You haven't poured that coffee yet? Let's go.
So y'all
So,
make
yeah.
whole bean with Boomtown is you're still partnered with, right? You guys are you guys roasting out of Boomtown, or are they roasting and you're sourcing out of Boomtown?
We live and work and play in the same space here.
Okay.
So yeah, the coffee's all coming off of the same roaster, but yeah, we have our own coffees for Many Worlds.
Yeah.
Okay.
We also still work for Boomtown.
Yeah.
There's a
Chris,
lot of
not
hats
so
going
much,
on.
but yeah.
That's how any new business works.
Yes.
Yeah.
Most new businesses, at least in the 21st century. And you guys also make instant coffee. So not only whole bean, but you also are doing instant.
Yeah, which is really, it's new for us. I mean, we've been flirting.
Well, I mean, you're still all new, so like, you know, it's the new
It's new for us personally
around
too.
here.
In addition, yeah, we just rolled instant coffee out in the past couple weeks. But yeah, I mean, I think we didn't have instant coffee around our roastery until about, I don't know, we started testing it maybe 4 or 5 months ago. And we're very impressed with it. And to answer the question from the chat, yeah, I think we have really awesome decaf. And it's very special. We found this coffee. It's from Colombia. It's this process called ethyl acetate, or the sugarcane decaf process. And it's basically like agitating the beans as little as possible to get the caffeine out. And it smells crazy, but it tastes delicious. I'm interested. You got to call out the aroma notes as you brew that. thing.
Yeah, Matt. Yeah, when you rip that bag open, you gotta put your nose in and smell it and tell us what's going on.
Okay, I can do that.
Yeah.
All right.
So I think this is genius though for game night, because it's like, okay, hey, if one person wants coffee, I mean, I'm doing V60 or AeroPress for single cup anyway, so it's not a huge deal. But to not break up game night, it's just like, oh, I need a cup of coffee. Great, water's hot. I'm just gonna rip it open and dump it in, right?
Well, also, Matt, I'll just say, like, counterpart to that's game night, but in the morning, like I do pour over in the morning, and I'm pretty limited by I'm limited by my carafe in terms of how much coffee I can make at one time, right? So I'm making about 3 cups worth of coffee at a time. Like I was thinking, because my mom's coming out to visit, and she's like notoriously, wakes up earlier. I feel like I wake up early, but she somehow wakes up earlier than me. And so I'm not up when she gets up to make coffee. But now I was like, oh, I've got these instant coffees, and I can just tell her like what to do in terms of like the quantity of, I'll be like, Mom, really use the scale. Please use the scale. Please measure the water. But otherwise, now she can have a cup of coffee before I get up and do the pour over, which I kind of got excited about because I was feeling guilty. I was having guilt.
That's awesome.
It
So
is.
you guys are, the instructions were add 10 ounces of hot water to 5 grams. You guys are mixing systems here. We got to have a talk about this.
Oh, he's about
This
to
is
Here's the thing.
yeah.
Here's the thing.
Here's the thing. The bag is in grams. It's pre-weighed, right?
Yeah.
We figure more people have measuring cups than scales
Yeah.
if they're hanging out with instant coffee.
Yeah, but are they using a dry measuring cup, or are they using a wet measuring cup? They could be putting the wrong ratio in there. Let's get down to the way it should be.
You're right. We should send them back. Let's get new boxes.
Let's
Yeah,
talk about
so-
let's talk about copy editing on your bags, okay?
Yeah. So I'm gonna pass the buck on that one because
Oh, no.
no, we work with this awesome company out of Lancaster, Pennsylvania called Swift Cup Coffee, and that is one of the 2 things they require us to put on the packaging, is that recipe.
Blurb.
So
Okay.
um,
Well, that recipe to another question, follow-up question about the ounces and the ambiguity and the disparity between the different measurement types. Hot water. You're not the only one to do this. Now, again, I've tried the Vindication instant coffee from Orange Nebula, who partnered with a roaster who I cannot think of right now. They also are just like hot water, but I'm like, no, but how hot? Right?
Oh, yeah.
Like, where do you want me to boil, like bring my water to?
I think that's one of the cool things we've kind of discovered with instant, is that it's super versatile. You can pour in water right off the boil and it'll dissolve instantly, but you could pour in like 140 degree, like drinking temp water, and you just have to stir it a tiny bit longer, and then you can drink right away.
No.
We've
Yeah, you
poured
can iced
in
coffee it for sure.
We've poured in room temperature water, and you have to stir pretty rigorously, but then you can add ice, and it makes iced coffee.
'Cause
What?
If you think
I've,
about it,
I've
Jen,
made
right?
espresso with it too. I've added water just off the boil, like 2 ounces to the instant, and then steamed my milk and made a latte with the instant also. So you can do a lot with it.
So sorry, you're saying you put a little bit, you basically put like a bag and a half.
No, you put just
to
a little
make-
bit of water.
Yeah, you just use
Oh,
a lot
less
less
water. Got it.
So yeah,
Sorry.
you use like 1.5 to 2 ounces of water, just enough to get it dissolved.
Got it.
And, yeah.
Okay.
Which makes sense. I mean, water temperature is about extraction, and when we're using instant coffee, we're not extracting.
Yeah, it's already
Dissolving.
extracted. Yeah.
So that's super interesting. Okay, so you're saying so it was boiling. It was 209. It's 209. It's close to boiling. You're saying I don't have to stir this? I don't have to go get a spoon?
You should probably stir it.
Well, I'm gonna have to go get a spoon.
I don't think I don't know. It's probably fine if you use your little gooseneck and maybe it got
Just
a
use
little
your finger,
agitated
Matt. Just put your finger in there.
I
It'll be fine.
agitated a bit at the
There you
bottom.
go.
I agitated it. I
You
think
got a little vortex going when you poured it. It's probably fine.
So I was actually really surprised. So the nose on just the coffee, when I smelled the bag, it smelled like sugarcane, which was
interesting.
was crazy. It was super sweet. I didn't get anything. And I don't know what the instant process is like, but grab a mini and stir with that. You want me to grab one of my nasty plastic minis back there?
Just stick some poisonous resin in your boiling water. Yeah, the
Yeah,
instant
he's
to
gonna
me.
do He wanted to do
There
a
you go.
coffee wash on that one, anyways. So.
Oh, nice.
The ogre's gonna stir my coffee.
Should have brought some of my minis to the podcast.
This is a new wash method, actually. This is a new wash method. It works. See, like you get some nice browning effects going on different places.
Yeah.
Well, did you see that our friend James, our favorite YouTube coffee person, actually he dropped it. He made a video where he took photos and he processed them in coffee.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was
No.
nice. They were black and white photos, and they were processed with coffee. And I mean, so it's a little acidic. It gives you like kind of a little patina, like a little coppery patina. But they were kind of nice. They were pretty nicely like saturated with the coloring. I was like, all right.
Are you talking about like a dark room or after he
in the
printed
dark-
coffee?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, yeah.
manual.
Cool.
Yeah, the film processing
Gotcha.
business. Yep.
Gotcha.
I was like, okay. Also, he knows how to use a dark room. Cool.
It's a
James knows
dying
all
skill,
things.
I think.
Yeah, for sure.
I should
James,
be
you
like,
guys,
well,
I mean, James Hoffman, you familiar?
Yeah.
Use the YouTube channel.
Mhm.
It sounds like something James Hoffman would do.
That guy's crazy.
Lurker, it is silly. It is totally ridiculous.
Andrew, I'm getting a lot of
What
Folgers,
what
little
content should
dark
I make?
Folgers vibes on the nose.
Wow.
Folgers vibes from the
No,
instant.
it's the instant coffee aroma's not hitting me.
It's what? No, so I was gonna say. So I always get when I grind it whole bean, it'll smell like I just walked into a Dutch bakery. Like I'll get the like
Yeah.
orgeat like almond.
Yeah.
But then when I brew it, it straight up smells like soy sauce sometimes. Like
There
it's
is
like
a-
super umami.
There's
And it's wild. But then you taste it and it doesn't taste anything like that.
So I think salty is a great way to describe the nose on the instant coffee. Again, I
Yeah.
remember grinding the electric sleep whole bean and enjoying the aroma. I'm not sure how Dutch bakery jumped off the page for me, but maybe I just need to go to more Dutch bakeries.
We have a motto here. We say if you smell it or taste it, then you're not wrong.
I think that's right. That's the same thing with bourbon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do a lot of most of my tasting adventures lately have been bourbon, and it's hey, if your brain said a thing,
Yeah.
then your brain's telling you that's what it is.
Yeah.
Well, but isn't that one of those experience things where like all like right, our senses are all like cross exposing and cross contaminating each other. So like, lunch or dinner is going to have an impact on, or whatever meal you have before your first sip of bourbon, is going to have an impact on what that tastes like. What I have with breakfast is going to be impacted by the coffee, or is going to impact the coffee flavors, that like what comes out, what's drawn out. Like the sweetness of like, isn't that like an interesting piece of coffee cake, right? Why is coffee cake so good with coffee? It's not actually even typical. I mean, sometimes you put grounds in it, but not all the time, not all recipes, but there's like still something that's like drawing. It's just like a relatively dry cake that just draws out, like extracts tons of flavor. So I think that's, like what does a drink actually taste like if all of these other things are coming in and like messing with it?
Right.
I don't know.
Listen, we got a couple things. One, the coffee's delicious. I'm absolutely blown away. This is my first instant coffee from y'all. That's a great cup of coffee. Like,
Awesome.
I would be happy if anyone served me this cup of coffee. I'm a little bit in shock. I'm shook a little bit. Just a little bit. I'm a little shook.
He's not only in shock, he's shook.
I'm shook and shocked. That's one. Two, Dad Soul's here. Hey, No Soul. What's up?
What's up,
Thanks for
No
dropping
Soul?
in.
Hello.
3, Lurker wants to know who is responsible for the Many Worlds Tavern logo, and not just logo, all their art as well.
All of it.
Oh.
So I think the concept for the logo, the idea for the cat was kind of, we came up with together. But yeah, I do most of our graphics. So I ended up designing the logo and do all the bag art, the bag design. So that's kind of been something we've always done in-house. So it's kind of cool to have it all here, like you were saying before the podcast. It's nice to have a designer under the roof. And
Just want to
Chris,
call out, Matt, this is the third time podcast is being brought up this week, and some point. Okay, so adjacent to the art, or maybe like tying into the art, because I want to hear more about like where those designs come from. Maybe we'll take a step back, and so you have 3 roasts that you offer right now. All 3 of them live in slightly different worlds, right? Which then kind of comes back to that artwork. So do you want to tell people the roasts that you offer?
Yeah, so I'll backpedal a little bit, because I think, so we come from the specialty coffee world, and when you get coffee from the specialty world, it's been kind of well shepherded to you, by the time it gets to you, both.
Yeah, what does that mean? What does specialty coffee world mean?
Okay, well, I guess we'll
Keep
back.
Let's go, everybody, buckle in. Buckle in.
Yeah. So yeah, this is definitely the long version of answering that question.
That's
So
what the stream is for.
there is commodity coffee, right? Coffee is a commodity that's traded. I think it's the second highest traded commodity below oil. I think that's still true after COVID. I know it was true before. and there's a commodity price. And most coffee that you're going to find on the grocery store shelf, like Folgers or Maxwell House, is going to be off the commodity market. If you find instant coffee in Europe or China, it's going to be commodity coffee. Specialty coffee is kind of, there's an organization that was created both to make the industry more sustainable and to actually get more money to these producers that were actually doing a better job of making good coffee. And so there's kind of a quality grading system it goes from 0 to 100. It's above 80. It's considered specialty coffee, and that's before it even gets to us. So that's from the farm as green unroasted coffee.
And how are they? What grading happens? To make that, like, because you're not tasting them necessarily, right? They're at a point where taste isn't coming into play.
You can answer that.
Oh yeah. So actually, there's this organization called CQI, which is the Coffee Quality Institute, and this is all from like the American perspective, I guess. And they make Q graders, or they certify people as Q graders, which are like the closest thing we have to like sommeliers and masters of wine, that kind of
Coffee
stuff.
Yeah.
So they have like the most official say on grading coffee. And what happens is you have to, like, if you're grading coffee at origin, the origin people have to roast it, right? Like they roast it on site at the farm. Because you're right, you can't taste it before it's roasted. So there's that whole aspect, but also when we get samples here, we grade them as well. So there's kind of like this whole hive mind of people, curators and roasting facilities and stuff, kind of sharing their scores. There's no like the 80 plus thing is kind of an abstract idea now. I think like if you're gonna go to any locally sourced coffee shop, most of it is over 80. Like I would be surprised to go to like a coffee shop with like a big espresso machine and a roasting team and not being like 80 plus. Yeah. So the grading is kind of, all that is called cupping. We used to do that every week. We're doing it a lot less now because of COVID. Even when we think back, it's kind of gross. Because it's like you have all these coffee samples, right?
Imagine doing a wine tasting, but you're sharing the wine glass with 10 people.
Yeah, it's gross.
Oh my gosh.
Do you spoon on your cuppings? You guys just...
Do you have spoons?
You had your own spoon, but everyone shared the same cup, like you're drinking out of a bowl. But to not belabor this forever, because we could go on and on about the technical side, but to go back to your roast question. So where the quality comes in is you go to the grocery store and you see the light, medium, dark roast. Their dark roast, it likely means it is lower quality coffee, and they're roasting it darker because there's a lot of defects. Beans that were either damaged by insects or damaged by fungus. Beans that were broken and over roasted. So the specialty coffee grading system is supposed to remove a lot of those defects from the roast. So the way we approach roasting is we get a bean. Dean here, who manages our roasting program, he's basically looking for the magic spot to roast that bean. So it's more like baking or cooking. You're putting a steak on, and you're trying to get like the right amount of caramelization to get the best out of that steak. And to take the steak metaphor a little further, it's like, if you have somebody over who likes the steak well done, you're going to give them the least good cut of meat, right?
Yeah. We just don't invite those people over for a steak. We ask them how they like their steak cooked beforehand, and if they give the wrong answer, be like, you know what, we're going to get pizza.
Yeah. So that's kind of our roasting philosophy is, we get these beans, you want to just roast them the best way possible, but then we know that people like dark roasted, like medium roasted, or like light roasted coffee. So we kind of built it around that. We found a bean, Ethiopian natural, and a Tanzanian washed coffee that tasted really great, not roasted very dark. And that's our Dragon's Nest. And then we found a Guatemalan. We typically roast our Latin washed coffees a little longer in the development process. So that makes up our Homely House and Great Old One. Yeah. So the three blends, the Dragon's Nest is our light roast, which we think is the most adventurous because it really does have a lot of more fruity, floral tasting notes.
Mm-hmm.
Homely House, I think we call our comfort blend. That's our medium roast, and that's really, I think, we're trying to just hit like this is what people expect from good coffee. Like it's just a really good coffee. And then Great Old One, is the dark roast. And for those people who know they like darker coffee.
Okay, and
made
then
their way to
another
the
decaf. Go ahead,
made their
Matt.
way to the fruits and herbs.
Can you say that one more
side of the
time, Matt?
spectrum. Yeah, the dark roast folks who haven't made it to the fruits and herbs section of coffee.
Yeah.
Lurker asked, is that where you were about to go, Jen? Sorry.
No, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Lurker just asked us if you have any
Steel.
suggestions
Yeah,
on how
steel.
to learn the cupping process.
Yeah. The cupping process. I think the best way you're going to learn how to taste coffee and bourbon or any other thing that you want to like get better at tasting at, you want to get a few examples that are really, really different. Like, for example, like if you were to use our coffee, or any coffee, Dragon's Nest is like our light natural coffee, which is going to be the fruitiest. And then you could put next to it a dark roast, like Great Old One. And those are going to be our most different coffees. So that when you taste them, the differences are going to be way more pronounced. Because I know the first time I went to a cupping, it wasn't like that. It was like really advanced. I was like a barista, and there was like all these roasters who've been cupping for years, and they were like all Latin American coffees, and I was like, everything tastes like barbecue sauce or smells like chocolate, and then the people are like saying like, oh, it tastes like orange, and I'm like, okay.
Bergamot.
Yeah, which I think now I think I've become that person.
Chris is the bergamot guy.
But
Bergamot.
But
Nice.
in the beginning, it's way more. It'll be way more fun to taste things that are way different.
Yeah, and I'd say if you're just starting, also cup the coffee that you drink all the time. Like if you drink Starbucks coffee every day, like brew some Starbucks coffee next to a new coffee, because your palate will have adapted to that coffee, and it'll give you a good baseline for what is different about the other coffee you're tasting.
Yeah, and then also there's also skills you can make when you don't have the coffee in front of you. Like when you're going to the grocery store, and let's say your coffee at home says like lime on it. When you're at the grocery store, just pick up a lime and just smell it and like think. Because I think there's a lot of time where I love you put lime on your taco and it's like, oh yeah, I like limes. But I don't know if you always you just like focus on the lime that you could do in the grocery store like that, and just like commit it to memory what that smells like. And
well, here's a slightly different question based on like this idea of exploration. Tell us, when did y'all? What is your individual stories for like knowing or realizing that you wanted to do coffee for a living? What was that like turning point for you?
I mean, I think we both fell into it very different ways. I mean, I'll start. My background's actually in architecture. So I went to school for architecture, practiced for 8 years. Before Boomtown Coffee it's kind of secretly a family business. So my family has ownership, and they just kind of like, they knew I wasn't loving what I was doing, and we were looking to start expanding. And I came on actually as kind of a designer. So came on in the first few months, did kind of a quick rebrand, designed some new packaging, built out a new website, and then designed our new cafe design. And then it just kind of slowly snowballed into a much bigger role in the company. And so that's kind of how I got into coffee. And for me, and my wife could tell you this, like when we pitched this idea of a coffee company framed around gaming, she was like, "Oh, well, you do that all the time anyway." Well, and it wasn't that I was just playing games. I DM. It was a Pathfinder game at the time. Now it's a 5th edition game, but there's a lot of prep involved, and so like a lot of my time gaming, for her wasn't actually me playing games. It was me just prepping for games, organizing, designing. So there's a lot of that has translated really well into Many Worlds. But yeah, I'll let you go.
Yeah, how did I fall into coffee? I was a barista. The place is actually called A Second Cup, which weirds me out when I see Second Cup everywhere on the stream. It's like, what's that? Yeah, it was I did not drink coffee before I was a barista. I did not like coffee that much. And I remember even like the first week, like having to dial in the espresso machine and all that and taste coffee. And I was like, this is not for me. But I fell in love with probably not coffee at first. I think I fell in love with the hospitality industry and just, I guess I'd never been like a regular at a coffee shop. So when I was a barista, I was like, oh, there's people that come in every day. And then like, oh, I'm like watching your kid grow up. And there's like lots of weird interactions that I think if I was never a barista, I would never like be that person, like that regular. Yeah. So it was really fun to have those connections with people. But Second Cup used to, and they still do, Boomtown supplies them with coffee. So when it was time to move on, it was like, let's go hit the job boards. But first, let me go talk to the Boomtown folks and see if they can take me. And yeah, so I'm at Boomtown, and then
he's not a barista anymore.
I'm not a barista anymore. But
barista you still know how to make coffee.
Yeah,
I think I'm okay.
How's your latte art? That's all I want to know.
I think it used to be pretty fire, but now I don't know. I don't know if it's still in the.
Yeah, if you want to learn latte art, we may have to bring one of the baristas onto the podcast.
When I was brand new, I really liked like latte art competitions and stuff. It was like a weird subculture.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think back and I'm like, that's kind of silly, but
it's awesome though. You're right.
It's fun, yeah.
You're like, wow, they spent a lot of time on that, and it's gonna get messed up really quickly. But
yeah.
My sister, younger sister, is a barista. She just started, I don't know, 6-8 months ago.
Oh, nice.
And she was not into coffee beforehand. And, I've watched her, and she hasn't gone, as deep as some, but she's definitely like, she's interested in roasting styles. We were talking about decaffeination methods a couple of months back. And and then her same thing. She's like, latte art, it seems so hard. And I was like, well, look at all these TikToks. Like, look at all these. I live vicariously through TikTok. Isn't that what we all do? I was like, look at all these people that with all these tutorials. And so she sends me pictures now regularly. Like, Matt, check this one out, which I think is so fun.
Yeah.
I don't know how to. I mean, I've watched the videos.
Yeah. Oh, you got it.
I do this in my head all the time. So
I think you just poured a heart.
You got to do the
He was
heart.
wiggling.
Yeah.
Well, you already kind of started answering this question, but so maybe just dive a little further. How do games inspire you to make coffee? Right, that's the business model is basically 50% games and 50% coffee. It's kind of.
I hope we get. I feel like we're more coffee now.
I mean, I guess technically you're 100% coffee, but you know.
We only sell coffee.
Yeah, we sell coffee.
I think mostly the concept is we've always liked the idea of sharing coffee. I think whatever coffee is to you, if that's like if it's just your caffeine fix, that's great. We'll love to have you. But we also kind of like respect coffee as it's there for lots of important stuff. Like it's there for lots of first dates. It's there for lots of like important study sessions. It's there for the best game nights. So we kind of just like realize that coffee is important to us in those moments, and we love gaming as bringing those moments in our lives a lot. So I think it was a natural fit.
Yeah, and I think COVID shaped that as well, because a lot of those other experiences were part of our cafes environment until COVID, and now people had kind of stopped gathering in public, and now we're just having very small gatherings at home. So a lot of taking that same philosophy from the cafe to home was, well, like people are playing games at home more than they're having meetings around the table or going on dates. So like that's the way we translated what we loved about the cafe environment to home, is let's bring people together around the table, even if it's just 3 or 4 people, friends or family, to play a game and still have their coffee.
Yeah, and I think it also doesn't hurt that Andrew and I are like,
we're kind of nerds,
super nerdy. Yeah. So
we don't know anything about that here. Sorry.
I think there's when we were thinking of making a sub brand, it was easy to think of ideas that we were afraid of like pandering to people. Even still, we don't want people to think we're just like taking advantage of their like hobbies or niches. We hope we're showcasing that, like, oh no, we come in peace. We think we're one of you. We just like we thought it was the most fun way to put out coffee and hopefully bring gamers that are not as into coffee to our side too. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Hey, let me just affirm, y'all are doing it, okay? Like I never second guessed for a second that you guys were nerds with us, okay? And obviously we stumbled upon the brand, and the brand pulled us in. So even if it was just a great corporate marketing scheme, you still got me, and I'm still in, and I think you're on the team. So I think we're good. That's so interesting though about the small business side and just being like, okay, hey, I'm passionate about this. I want people to know I'm passionate. I'm not just here to turn a profit, to make a buck. So I feel that with you. I get how that feels, but y'all are doing it. Don't worry about
it. Lurker's still down with the graphic design. It's diving deeper now.
This is so funny because I think the lettermark is the thing that we argued a bit about. But Lurker is confirming that Andrew's lettermark was really good.
Well, it's awesome too because we thought really hard about that. We were like, all right, we are a coffee company first and foremost, but we're in the gaming world. So, we haven't made any concrete plans for, actually releasing gaming products, but we knew it was potential reality. And so, yeah, we tried really hard to find a mark that looked good on a coffee bag and looked good on a gaming product. So yeah, it's cool that it feels like it fits on that D&D cover.
Dice Vaults are coming, y'all. They're coming. I love that. Specialty coffee. I think you're totally primed to bring people into the coffee world as well. My wife is a great example of that, in that she never liked coffee before, and only through me diving into specialty coffee and being like, hey, this is the coffee experience that I want to have from now on, after spending X amount of years not drinking that style of coffee, has it encouraged her to try it, to sample it, to be like, hey, I'm going to need to know if this coffee is actually good before I let you justify these purchases of new coffee things. And, she's done it and has totally fallen down the rabbit hole to the effect of, waking me up to be like, hey, you need to make me my coffee before I leave for work. So,
That's awesome.
And wakes up earlier than me.
Does she drink black now?
And she drinks black. She doesn't even like putting anything in her coffee. In fact, we were at a family member's house, and they offered coffee, and she was concerned that that the coffee wasn't going to taste very good because I hadn't made it, and because it was not specialty coffee. And so she asked them to they had a little extra cream, and she's like a heavy cream, half and half to heavy cream kind of person. So she put some heavy cream in it, and she was like, afterwards we're driving home, and she's like, it wasn't good. It wasn't good. Like, she was like, she was like, I think the cream made it like worse, maybe. Very
that can happen.
Yeah. You're now becoming a snob. So I think it's interesting that like that idea of it, that sort of there's care, right? That passion is addicting. People love seeing people passionate about things. We love seeing you passionate about coffee. That's totally inspiring to us. And all of the things that you're saying about community are like totally spot on. That's definitely what our hope is with games. We want to make beautiful games that are enticing, that are easy for people to say yes to purchase, but then also make people want to hang out around the table. And you're playing this game, yes, you're having a good time, yes, but also you're spending time with people around the table.
Yeah. They're both vehicles to connection.
Right.
Right. You can enjoy coffee for the sake of coffee. You can enjoy board games for the sake of board games, but ultimately the desire is to feel real connection with people, and those just help us get there.
Yeah, I want to. There are two cool things that that are like really awesome on your website that I want to call out and hear more about. The first one being sustainability. Sustainability is something you call out pretty definitively on your website, and I'd love to hear you talk more about how that's important to Many Worlds Tavern, how it's important to the coffee industry, and how do we get to participate in that when we are drinking your coffee?
Yeah, so sustainability, there's kind of two halves of sustainability to a coffee business, because there's kind of sustainability at the farm level. And, for us, just sticking with specialty coffee is really a good way. It's really a good launching point because specialty coffee is almost always traded higher than the commodity market. We get questions every once in a while if we have fair trade coffee, and my response is always no, but our coffees are way higher than fair trade price coffees are required to be. So a lot of the producers we work with, we know we can trace the coffee back to them at origin. We know a lot of times who's making the coffee, and then the importers we work with sometimes actually support the origin on the back end also. And so our purchase of certain coffees, we feel confident that it's a sustainable way to support these coffee growing origins. But then on the back end is, we're a mail order business. And so we know it's almost impossible to send things through the mail without there being some kind of disposable packaging. And so, yeah, it was a big part of, from the very beginning, it was, if we have a bag, at our cafe, the way we did it is we bought into a recycling program. So we pay to have these huge boxes sent to us, and we get people to bring the bags back, and then we pay to send them to be recycled. So we recycle as many of our coffee bags as possible. But the mail order, again, it's paying for shipping two directions just through that. So we went with biodegradable packaging for the bags, and then cardboard. It's one of the easiest things typically to recycle. So the company we found, they're using recycled paper content in their cardboard, but finally, strangely enough, the bag of coffee, the dimensions. Can you see this? Yes.
Yeah,
The
we see it.
dimensions-
It's lagging on my
Yeah, it's
stream.
lagging. The
can see
dimensions are actually, so if you cut a cross section through this, the dimensions are the same as a playing card. So I actually, our single bag box, I kind of realized pretty fast, this is just a box for holding Magic cards or anything. You could put any game in there. And so that was actually the smallest unit. So this is kind of my design and architecture background. I was like, we got to make this modular. And so my smallest unit of packaging was just that card, and went up from there. The 1 bag box and the 2 bag box and 3 bag box, and yeah. So I think, to not get too carried away with that, but it was, we know we have to make something that's disposable. How do we do it in the most responsible way? Obviously the most responsible way is, let's create a beautiful box that people might actually think about keeping and putting other stuff in. And so that's where we started.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love that the box art is sort of enticing. Like when you open it up, the attention to detail and the design, the customized design of the box and the illustration work on the box makes you want to keep it in the first place. You're like making this thing that would otherwise be thrown away. Making somebody stop and think about that. And I love that you actually provide examples on your website of ways that you can keep that box once you have it as well. Yeah. Matt, do you want to grab that second one?
The second
question.
You guys are asking great questions, by the way.
Oh, it's all Jen. She prepped them all. She prepped them all. I might have stolen some out of order on accident just because I was curious, but I'm on the website perusing right now. I've got the website up,
okay.
and I do see 200. Wait, what's the count? You guys got to count on here.
Well,
500 unprotected playing cards or 280 cards and sleeves. Let me just tell you, pro tip: we don't deal with sleevers here. I'm just kidding.
We are not having a sleeve conversation right now, so I'll just grab the second question then. The second really awesome thing that I noticed on your website is that you are very focused on charitable giving, to the extent that, correct me if I'm wrong, $1 of every bag purchased is donated to a charity of your choice. I'd love to hear, one, the reason for doing that, two, how you choose the charities that you're participating with and donating to. I feel like you've maybe partnered with some of the people that you've sponsored to do some charitable giving too, in that way, in terms of like finding organizations to donate to. I just want to hear more about the drive to do that out of the gate, and how that is a continuing practice for you.
Yeah. I think it was part of that conversation earlier about us trying not to like pander to the community was, if we're gonna be part of the community, let's partner with some orgs that are doing really great work, and say, hey, we want to help in a small way here, because you guys are doing like so much work and building this community up better than we could. So let's share a little bit. So the concept is, you're right, $1 per bag. So if you buy 4 bags, it's $4. And we committed to that from the beginning. I think there's a lot of models that give a portion of profits, but we wanted from right out the gate to say, hey, even if we don't make a profit, let's put our money where our mouths are and do $1 per bag. I think people have responded well. I think I think these orgs, we try to find a wide range, and we partner with 3 right now: the Spiel Foundation, Tabletop Gamers, and the House of Afros, Capes, and Curls.
Yeah, check all of them out.
Yeah, and I think I don't know. I think there's just like some concepts and things we care about that are hard to like convey just on our About Us page. So yeah, the whole giving thing is saying, hey, here's like a quick snapshot of we want to be part of the community.
Well, and I think it's one of those things that carries over from our brick and mortar business too, because yeah, being a small business, you get to the point where we were at a point pre-COVID where we had 50 employees. There's so many moving pieces, but you wanna be able to give back somehow. But then when you get to the point where you need to write a check, you're like, wow, this little check is very impactful to my business. Like that's X number of dollars that I don't have in case something breaks at my shop, in case, it's X number of dollars I don't have to give to my employees potentially. And that you're writing a check to this big organization that is getting, thousands and thousands of dollars. So you're questioning like, how impactful is this for them? If it's very impactful for me. So it's much easier from the very beginning, actually, I think, to build it in and be like, this is something that's going to be important to us from day one. We build it into the costs for our bags. We know everyone's going to cost $1. So, you structure your business model around it from the very beginning. It just makes more sense that way. And then later on down the road, hopefully when we're just shoveling thousands of dollars toward these organizations, it won't be an issue. It's like, oh yeah, that's part of it from the beginning.
Yeah.
You called out an interesting thing again, and I know you mentioned it in the beginning of the conversation, but just about being kind of born out of COVID. And I'm curious how maybe you kind of alluded to it just now, but how much of your business practice and how much of this business model do you think is impacted by being a business born out of COVID?
I think a lot. I think we had flirted with the idea for years of trying to make e-commerce work. But I think COVID was really kind of the kick in the rear that it was like, hey, like we, as a small business, we need to do something that makes us more resilient. Because we've watched other small businesses, not survive.
Yeah.
So it was kind of, with the resources, and we're lucky enough to have somebody who can do packaging and somebody who can do web design and photography and video, AV stuff. So we have like these pieces in our company that, in a weird way, like I feel like our skill sets aren't actually focused on coffee, but we have the resources, through our sister company that we can make really damn good coffee. So I think it really was kind of a hard look at what resources do we have as a small business that are underutilized? What resources could we use to make something online, to get something outside of a brick and mortar that could actually help us be a little more resilient the next time something crazy like this happens. So yeah, I think in that aspect, on the business side of things, is very much a response to COVID. Yeah, I'd love to say, oh, this is something we were going to do eventually anyway, but I don't know. I think during the first few months of COVID, there really were a lot of conversations we were having that we'd never had before. So
yeah, it's there's a lot of oh, we'll get to that sometime. And then COVID forced us into things, but it forced us into good things. It's forced us into.
Sure, yeah.
Matt, on to a lighter note. Thank you for those. Those are deeper dives. But Matt, Legends uses sleeves, so
I know.
I'll let you DM them later about that.
I can still be friends.
I'm also a habitual sleever.
you who's wait what Chris?
I love sleeves.
Yeah,
They're so good.
I
What
was
did they
having
do
a
to you?
conversation this last week.
Okay, we're gonna do it anyways. Okay. Great.
I'm sorry. It sounds like
Yeah.
a sore spot now.
No,
No,
I was
fair. We've
it's
been
not a
asking
sore
you
spot
all
at
these
all.
questions. You can put him on the soapbox now. Go ahead. Matt.
It's not a sore spot at all. I think the comment from Gen I's perspective comes from the Kickstarter war that is always happening.
Kickstarter force.
That's right. Will the box support sleeves? And that's a really tough one. It's a lot. It's a lot more nuanced. It's a lot more difficult. So we just laugh because if you sleeve, you can sleeve. If you don't sleeve, you don't sleeve. We prefer to feel. I mean, we put linen finish on our cards, right?
Mm.
We prefer to feel the linen finish and to riffle shuffle. So that's the other thing. I riffle shuffle. I'm not a Magic player though. Someone was telling me the other day, they were like, I don't.
Shuffling Magic cards with sleeves is a whole different shuffling technique. It's very specific, and those products are designed around that, right? But that's not how we shuffle board game cards.
If you think about the life of a playing, okay. See, I'm not trying to have this conversation.
Well,
what if I told
But
you
if
you could feel the linen finish in 30 years when you pull it out of the sleeve?
That's great.
Whoa.
That's awesome. You also think about a casino, right?
Sustainability.
on your deathbed.
Bring it
I
back
just
to
need to feel it one more
sustainability. There we
time.
go.
I'm not going to Google it, but
Your stuff feels. By the way, the rule book feels awesome in Parks.
you've got
linen
one of the linen finish rule
Got
books.
one of
We didn't
those.
add that until I think the 5th printing.
Okay,
Um,
it's awesome.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, also Andrew is a designer, so we talk about random stuff like that. One time, Andrew walked into my office. He's like, "Look at this vellum postcard or something that somebody sent," and I was like, "Oh, that's cool. That's cool, man."
I'm there. I'm Legends is Team Chris. Lurker asks, what's the equivalent of sleeving in the specialty coffee community?
The equivalent of preserving, I guess, sleeving is like what?
Oh, that's so funny that you went to preserving.
Yeah, it
Because-
depends if it's a
Protecting-
positive or a
Yeah.
negative, or
It does.
or if
So
there's if it's like an
y'all.
extra. I think if you think sleeving is like extra, I think the thing that's extra is like using a sifter every time you make coffee.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
That's
point.
probably right.
If sleeving is about being extra, like
I didn't know
a
if it was like
sifter, if you spend an extra like 5 minutes using a sifter for your morning coffee, I'm not I can't follow. I'm out. I'm out.
You're officially at the level above Chris.
I'm done.
Well, if you use a sifter and can taste the difference, right? I think
Yeah.
that
Wait, Matt, do
those
you use
two-
a sifter every time?
No.
Oh,
I don't even own a
I thought
sifter.
I thought that's where it was leading. So.
no
No.
sifters owned on the Keymaster
Okay.
team. Currently.
We have one right behind us. Yeah, but it's been sitting there for probably 2 years without use.
I guess I was thinking about like the airtight canister to like store the beans. If you're taking them out.
I think the best preservation that I think we might implement it someday is vacuum sealing and then putting it in a freezer. Which you're not supposed to freeze coffee in a bag, because if you're taking the bag in and out, you're going to deal with condensation and it's going to mess with the beans. But we do have some like pie in the sky dreams of like, what if we vacuum sealed and froze a ton of coffee, and then in 10 years you can order them like it's a wine list, like, oh, I want this from the 2016 vintage of this coffee. We're not
In
there yet.
chat.
I don't think there's a lot of people that do that yet, but
Yeah, I see Lurker's comment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the best way to do it, don't do it with a liquid. Do it with a roasted bean. Like if you go and you just try a coffee that you think is so incredible, buy an extra bag and then dose it out into like just the dose that you would make a Chemex with or something. And then, yeah, vacuum seal it and then freeze it as soon as possible. And then basically you can pour frozen beans directly into your grinder. It doesn't hurt your grinder.
Right.
And you can brew. But yeah, you basically, if they go into the freezer, you don't want to take them out until you're ready to brew them.
So it's like you're allowed to do that one time.
Pretty
One
much,
time.
yeah.
One-time freezing. So commit.
Yeah. Once you take it out, don't put it back in.
And there are a few shops in the country that will actually have a coffee list that's like 30 deep, and they'll pull open a drawer from their freezer, and yeah. There's not many that do it, but it's pretty special.
Well, you see this freezing is supposed to help the like grind size consistency. So there's this shop. Do you remember what it is? And they put the grinders in a freezer.
Oh.
You know what I'm talking about?
That's like sleeping.
That's like
I'm
dragging.
not going to put my oat in my freezer. It's not happening.
I'm sure every engineer in chat just cringed a little bit. It was like, yeah, this was spec'd to be ground at 70, not operated at.
Sure, if it's good for the grinder. No.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
They get kind of hot, so
Chris and Andrew, I'm gonna let you answer this to see how you've come to gauge Matt and I based on watching the show. We know you've joined a couple of times.
Okay.
Who do you think would get a sifter first, me or Matt?
It's gotta be Matt.
You just said Matt.
I think it's gotta be Matt. I think me saying that it's extra has even inspired him more to try it. That's my guess. But this is on a judgment of maybe about 30 minutes worth of Twitch watching. So so there you go.
All right. Well, we'll just keep that kind of logged in the back, and when it happens, we'll be sure to let Chad know what happened first.
I really want to say that it is Jen that does it first.
Oh.
So if we have a history of on the show, Jen loves. She doesn't like to miss out, and she loves her gadgets.
Oh yeah.
Jen loves her gadgets. I get
Things.
daily.
I love things.
Sure.
Daily emails of should I buy this? But I think in this case, I would probably be the one to get a sifter first. I think he's right. I've been wanting one just to try it, just to be like, hey.
Right. When I think about who brought up sifter first, I think it was you.
Yeah, it was me for sure.
Yeah.
It's the kind of thing that you really want to try. I think we also, if you ever watch like competition, like brewing competitions, there's a lot of stuff that when you hear it, it's like, oh, this is what I'm missing. Clearly, this person who ground their coffee 3 times is onto something.
Well,
I think I'm more likely to try inverted AeroPress method before sifting.
Oh yeah,
You
can do that.
That's my daily afternoon coffee.
You can do that now.
Okay, guess I'm doing that after stream.
You can do my recipe is on the Dragon's Nest page, I think, on our website.
Oh, okay.
You have to like watch a video of me, which is unfortunate, but the recipe's there.
I'm a visual learner, and that's very helpful. Lurker's right. Only because like the biggest push that Jen might get a sifter before Matt is because Fellow has one now.
That's true.
It's the only thing that kind of lingers is
Matt's lazy in acquiring new things sometimes. Jen is on it.
Lurker, I don't invert. I don't, because Matt and I watched Hoffman's video on like the ideal AeroPress method, this is what you should just be doing on the regular.
The daily AeroPress method.
That one. And it was very good, so I don't invert. But now
okay.
I'm feeling judged, and I'm gonna go try it.
It's okay. I was mean to Legends. Lurker's mean to
judge.
you. This is not a good. It's a little toxic stream today. We need to.
No, I think I need to clear the air a little bit.
I was gonna say I wouldn't judge you.
There's no
matter how you brew with it. I would judge the person who tells you there's only one way to do it.
I was gonna say this is a no judgment zone.
Yeah, for sure.
No.
If you use a sifter, this is all in fun. This is all just saying it's not for me. If it's for you, that's awesome. Plus, I want to taste your coffee. Let's have some coffee.
Oh, that Lurker's right. That's his ultimate, not daily. It's his ultimate AeroPress technique. And you're right. It is James's ultimate technique. But watching these championships, there's clearly like about 6 million different ways to use an AeroPress machine that is a very seemingly a simple machine.
Yeah.
That's what's so great about it. Yeah.
All right. Fun, fast questions. What is your most favorite bean that you've ever sourced?
Ever. So years ago, we still get coffee from this farm in Ethiopia. It's this woman grower, and there's not many women growers in Ethiopia, but the coffee is called Amaro Gayo. And she actually, like, her farm got attacked. I mean, there's a lot of more problems in Ethiopia now. But yeah, a lot of her crop was destroyed, and it really hasn't been the same since, and it's sad. But before that, I think I had an Amaro Gayo, and it was like, it tasted like blueberry, like cheesecake or something. It was incredible. It was so good. We still source it and use it, but it's definitely not the same as it was back before her farm was kind of destroyed.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Yeah, it was really a bummer.
That turned into a sad question. Okay. What is your favorite coffee recipe?
Is this brew method? Is that your?
Yes.
Hand in hand. So I have competed in those competition things. So I think it might be that recipe for the origami. Is it back here?
Yeah, you love your origami.
Yeah, it's my favorite. So this is my favorite brew method, and I think the recipe. I'm really into non-fussy recipes. I think that if you're gonna, I think there's a diminishing returns on if you like miss your pour by a gram or miss it by a few seconds, like the timing, to where I don't even like, mostly whenever I brew coffee, it's like every 30 seconds add some water, and I just do that until I hit my target. For competition, it's more specific, but just like on the day-to-day, I think that's the main thing. I also, this is kind of tangential, but it's like a pet peeve. Like, if your coffee recipe is like 39 grams, why isn't it 40? Like, why you got to do the math in the morning? Just make it 40. Just make it 40.
I mean, chemistry suggests that there's like, specific reason for that. But also, again, with the
Just add a
small
little more
amounts of
water,
coffee, the small amount of beans that somehow are left, regardless of what measurement you use,
that's right.
whatever your output is, there's still that little bit left over in the bag, and you're just like, how did you get there?
Yeah.
I make espresso every morning, and I make an AeroPress almost every afternoon.
What's your afternoon cutoff? How late?
Like 3.
I cut back a lot recently.
My doctor told me not after 5, but I've never, almost never after 4. Well,
Sorry, what I heard is the doctor recommends continuing to drink coffee until 5.
No,
when you said
no,
that,
nothing after 5 if I want to sleep.
is that decaf? Do you switch over to decaf for your AeroPress?
I have. If it is too late, yeah. I made a half calf recently because it was kind of getting later in the afternoon, which was crazy. Using the electric sheep for a half calf is pretty wild.
Right.
Layers on layers.
Yeah, it was a lot of flavors for sure.
Lurker asks, why do I need an origami if I already have 2 V60s?
Another clear the air. You don't need.
Oh, I love it. Good job, Chris. You cut.
There's no need. Need is the wrong wrong verb.
Need is a very flexible word on the stream.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jen needs
if
a lot
you
of things
want if you want an origami and it's in the budget, it's not that different from a V60, especially if you use a V60. Like, it can take V60 filters.
Yeah.
If you use a V60 filter in an origami, it's going to be really, really similar.
We're both terrible salespeople, by the way.
We don't sell origamis.
We're talking about selling origamis on our site, but here we are, like, oh, you don't need this.
No. They don't need it.
That's the truth, yeah.
So when we do recommend it, it's just from a place of like.
Yeah, I think if you didn't have a V60 and you were between the V60 and the origami, Chris would recommend the origami.
I mean, I think it's just prettier.
It's very pretty. It's very pretty. You can use Kalita filters, which are flat on the bottom, which can help with some like extraction evenness. And we got all the toys here. Okay. This is a Kalita.
The metal
Gonna be in
one.
front of my face.
It's got the three
So
holes in
it's
the
like
bottom,
flat
right?
on the bottom, which this used to be my favorite. The problem is the holes on the bottom are really small. So sometimes you get unlucky and they get kind of clogged. Like the drawdown is too slow, which is not a problem with this guy because it's got a huge
Mm-hmm.
aperture in the bottom.
Totally depending on the paper at that point.
Oh, so sorry, screen. I knocked the
probably
mic.
loud.
That was bad. So yeah, that's my. Lurker says he needs an origami, so I think whatever I said, it was already going to happen. So,
That
They
happens
have
a lot on
good
the
colors
stream.
too. There's other colors.
No, Soul
they're all
actually
pretty
asked a great
good.
question. Are you predominantly drinking other coffees, or do you drink your own?
Saw that question.
I didn't mean for that to sound surprised. I'm
Both.
surprised that you asked a great question. That is a great question, so thanks for asking it.
I think we all kind of gift each other coffee here at the warehouse. Like if we end up at another shop, we'll almost always buy a bag and bring it back. But yeah, I'd say it's almost half and half. We drink our own coffee, both to make sure it's good still, and because we actually like it.
Mhm.
But it's good to drink other people's coffee too, to see what other people are doing and see how we compare.
Yeah. And I think back when we were cupping more, for me, it was predominantly not our coffee. We were tasting samples,
Yeah.
and then only once in a while we were doing like quality control cuppings. And that's when I would drink the most of our own coffee. So
Interesting. I wonder if that. I mean, I guess sometimes that's what it is. What it's like for us too. Do we spend most of our time playing our own games, or do we spend time playing other games? And I mean, when we're developing, obviously we're playtesting our stuff a lot, but otherwise we're spending time, to playing lots of other games. We've talked, Matt and I have talked about being like, our gaming group is like, we want to play the same game, and or Maddox or Kyle will be like, but there's this other game we want to try too.
yeah.
Case in point, I have 3 games of Parks going on Board Game Arena right now, and only 1 game of non-Parks on Board Game Arena right now. So actually that's a pretty small list. Normally I got like 8 games going, so 50-50 might be the correct.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
Are you guys OP at your own games? Like, do you know all the best strategies? And
No.
I
I mean, I
well,
think that. Yeah, go ahead.
Go
Jen.
ahead, Matt.
Nope.
I was gonna say, point of fact, I was at a game night on Saturday. Played a game of Campy Creatures. Did not win.
Oh no.
I think that there's
even Henry is saying no.
Yeah, I think that I think that you're always in the running to win, but there's sometimes someone plays their cards right, they block you out of the right spot. They sometimes too, like you might think the best strategy, and that's based on hey, of all the options right now, this is the most optimal for them. Well, they don't make that move, and when they don't make that move, you've now put yourself in a position that's actually worse.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that's the most optimal, so I'm not going to go there because they're going to do that, so I'm going to do this. And so you talk yourself in circles into a hole. and you talk yourself in circles. There's different games, though. I mean, like Caper, which is our 2-player drafting game coming out to backers later this year and to retail next year. I win all the games I teach of that, even when I try to lose, because it's just a steeper learning curve. But game, like I've lost to people playing Parks for the first time, so.
Mm-hmm. And this is segue question. The Demogorgon. So we posted wallpapers. It is the month of October. It is our annual pumpkin carving contest, and we are talking about all things Campy Creature, as noted by your Campy Creature Week, and the T-shirt. That's T-shirt. So the Demogorgon currently polled as the most picked wallpaper from yesterday's wallpaper selection between the Demogorgon and the Tarantula. If the Demogorgon drank coffee, they may, we don't know. But what Many Worlds roast would they prefer?
A great old one.
You think?
I think so.
Isn't there not like a rivalry between mythical
No, they're
creatures?
friends. They show up at the bar and
The
you know,
Demogorgon.
You think they're
and
friends?
Cthulhu?
Maybe they're friends.
I feel like the Demogorgon would be in the cult.
I don't know. Maybe they're into some electric sleep too. Okay, they just
Maybe.
there's a lot of it's pretty intense upside down, so you gotta.
That's right. That's what I'm thinking. They've got enough energy from life forces.
I mean, do the Demogorgons exist in the future? I mean, that's the big question, right? Because you definitely got.
Who's to say that's in the future though? You know, what if it was in a galaxy far long ago? I ruined it. What?
Far, far away.
Far,
And
long
where
ago.
you going? Long ago. Yeah.
Long ago is in the
But
middle.
Harrison Ford is there, and he's tracking
Harrison
down
Ford's
androids.
there. Yeah.
He's there.
No matter what your sci-fi experience, Harrison Ford is definitely a part of it.
It's either him or Bruce Willis or.
Yeah.
There you go.
You know, that's
and-
I never think about Bruce as a sci-fi guy, but you're totally right.
That's a great call out. See, you said we shouldn't do an entertainment segment, and
I didn't say we shouldn't do it. Not an hour long one
Just
like
wasn't
we normally do.
compulsory. Yeah.
Well, to that end, it is our fourth annual Campy Carving Contest this month. Fourth time we're doing it. So I've dropped the link to the templates in chat. Make sure to grab those and set your pumpkin carving date. We're accepting submissions the last week of October all the way through Halloween, and we'll be choosing one skilled chosen winner judged by the team and one random winner. We have a fancy carving set that will be carved with the Campy Creatures insignia plus some gift card prizes for the website. Or Chris and Andrew, are you pumpkin carving people?
I do it every year, and I think I hate it every year.
That's acceptable.
I have kids at home, so I do it for the children.
It's tough. Jen, with kids, it really sucks some of the joy from the actual carving. Like the joy is in my kids are carving pumpkins and they're having fun. And
you just get to scoop the guts out.
Yeah. And then fight them when they really want to use the knife, but anyway.
But they really can't. Hey, if you have kids, included in those templates is actually a drawable, a sketchable version of the pumpkin carving contest. So if you have kids that like to do the drawing thing instead of the carving thing, they can do that. We've seen one year we had a contest winner that was a ceramic. They were ceramic pumpkins, painted pumpkins, ceramic pumpkins. Pretty awesome. It was pretty cool. We were like, whoa, that's extra. Like they were like actually like baked and then sealed, and it was pretty cool. So that like calling it a carving contest is like loosely termed.
Maybe I'll do a Many Worlds landscape pumpkin.
I love it.
Sounds great. Or we can get Chris back on those latte creations, and you can just make a Demogorgon. Make a Demogorgon in the top of the latte.
I think it's great ideas. I got some great ideas here today.
Are y'all going to see No Time to Die this weekend?
I would love to. Every time a Bond movie comes out, I get a text from my dad. He's like, "Hey, do you want to go see the new Bond movie?" I have not gotten that text yet. I don't know that my 4-year-old boy is old enough to take to a Bond movie yet.
I think that's
Borderline.
I've been itching to go to a movie theater though. It's been way too long. I still haven't gone.
We got some hitters the next couple of weeks too.
Yeah.
It's happening. Whew. We've got the Ted Lasso season 2 finale is tomorrow.
That tomorrow night?
It's tomorrow night as well, which means the Bond movie definitely has to happen in the afternoon. Try to hit that afternoon showing. If you are going to see the Bond, have fun. Remember not to spoil it, but rest assured, Matt and I both will have watched this Bond movie by next Thursday, and you can expect a No Time to Die conversation when we are back here.
Nice.
I didn't know that I had to go see it before next Thursday. That's a tall order. Oh boy.
Well, I mean, you'll be fine, Matt.
I was thinking about going last night. I got a early.
Yeah, you
you know,
almost went last
night. Yeah. I got an early access invitation, and I was like, "That sounds great, but I have like 4 plans tonight, and I can only pick one."
Chris and Andrew, where can people go to find Many Worlds Tavern Coffee? Find you on social media, all of those things.
Yeah, we're on ManyWorldsTavern.com. We're Many Worlds Tavern on almost all the social media. I think Twitter is cut off. It's like Many Worlds Tav. And then find us there. We're on TikTok, YouTube. We're trying to make some stuff.
Yeah, the video content's been great, Chris.
Thanks. I'm still I need to take some like improv classes or something. I think I'm kind of boring. I think I'm not boring in real life, but I think on camera I'm a little boring. So we're gonna work on that. But yeah. Plus, also, I
told you we're terrible salespeople.
Well, we're working on it. We also just posted this this quick plug. We posted this picture of like an 8-pack of instant coffee, and we're trying to get that into some wholesale people, like on the counter of a game store or in a game cafe. So if you guys know any cafes or stores in your area that like you wish that was there, especially if there's like vending machines for like public play, but you would rather see some coffee, tell them to contact us.
There you go.
Yeah.
Everybody has their marching orders now.
The 8-pack.
Oh, yes. Oh, we have it here too. I think Matt.
I love that. I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Put it in front of your face.
Prototype.
Put it in your front.
Looking good.
Are you guys are going to start streaming soon? Is that what I hear?
We are prepared.
We are gonna try. I think we're gonna try today. Yes. Still.
Yes.
After this one, we're gonna try to play some Parks on TTS.
There you go. I mean, it lasted this long. Your internet,
It did.
It can go
Our
through
internet
again.
is supposedly really fast, but sometimes there are days where it just cuts out all day.
You also, if one of you got a premium membership, you can go play on Board Game Arena now. It doesn't have the Nightfall expansion.
Okay.
But it won't destroy your computer while you're streaming. There's some positives. I'll just tell you, TTS and OBS, they don't always play nicely.
Yeah. We're gonna try. We're gonna give it a shot.
Just competing for attention. They're like when you have multiple kids.
TTS is computer hog for sure.
So where are they gonna find you streaming? Many Worlds Tavern?
That's us. Yeah.
Twitch.
Yeah.
Okay.
Boom. Well, y'all
probably
can
start like. I don't know when we.
I don't know now.
Clearly, there's not a lot of planning. But,
it might be after lunch at this point
Yeah.
for me. So yeah.
If you're already here on Twitch, make sure to go over to Many Worlds.
Yeah, just go follow us, and then you'll get the notification.
Yeah.
You'll get notified when they go live after lunch. Chris and Andrew, thanks so much for joining us today.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. Any other things, Matt?
Well, are we raiding anybody? I need to go check out what people are doing?
Well, I don't know. Who's up?
Well, you want to go raid TI? You guys want to go watch Dota together? Let's do it.
Oh my goodness.
I have been watching Dota all morning. We will close down the stream and I will start watching Dota again.
That's why Teams broke. He wants to know why Teams broke this morning.
I don't think that's why Teams broke, but sure, we'll see. Who do we got? Who do we have in the board game?
Henry, while you're looking for the raid, Henry Audubon saying they just grabbed their tickets for Dune and IMAX. Very, very cool. Ooh. I do need to actually go look up tickets, the IMAX tickets for
recommend for that. See it in IMAX, yeah.
Keymaster's live. Yep. we are live right now.
Thanks, Lurker. Thanks for the great questions. Thanks, guys, for inviting us again.
Yeah.
If the chat doesn't know, I don't know, but we totally caught them ordering coffee. They didn't introduce themselves. They just ordered coffee, and they
Yes.
happened to put Keymaster Games on the address.
Yeah, somebody did.
Yes.
I'm not
I
sure.
think it was my autofill. It was me. It was
I think
I
that-
did the autofill.
I didn't do that.
So it was like, okay, let's go.
They
try.
were trying to order coffee from us, like
They wanted I think they
surreptitiously.
wanted an out.
Yeah.
Like, if it's gross, at least we don't.
that is exactly what we wanted to do. We were
100%.
like, I was like, try this coffee. Like, just us, like, DL order it just in case. This is a gimmick. Turns out it's not a gimmick. It's awesome.
Oh,
You're,
okay.
It's
you're,
good.
you're making really tasty
Very
coffee.
Ooh.
Especially that instant coffee. I don't know how it got good. I don't know when instant coffee turned good, but
Oh, thanks so much.
yours
It's
is
only
definitely-
ours. You don't drink anything else.
Oh no.
That's what it's crack the code. Matt, did you figure out rating yet?
We're not rating anybody today.
Okay, great.
All right.
Y'all, if you're going to see No Time to Die this weekend, have an awesome time. The final Daniel Craig James Bond movie, a little bittersweet, but I'm excited for 3 hours of all of that goodness to get me through until we find out who the next James Bond is going to be.
Yes.
We'll be back next week to talk about that and whatever else I come up with. And in the meantime, have a great weekend, a great rest of your week, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, y'all. Thanks, Chris. Thanks,
Bye,
Andrew.
guys.
Bye.
Thank
Bye,
you.
all.
Also, Chris and Andrew, you should know that when we say goodbye, we actually don't say goodbye. We
After
actually,
party.
After show.
yeah,
after
we keep
show.
talking. This is where you can talk about anything you want. Like,
Right.
for
What was it
example,
covered?
I watched Miss Sloane. It took me all week, but after Jen said last week that I had to watch it, I watched it.
You did it.
I did it. I finished, and it was a good movie, Jen.
It is a good movie.
I think Molly's Game is better though. I think
That's fair. I mean, that's got the casino gambling angle. That's like kind of hard to resist, right?
I do like the poker.
Oh, the poker story.
What about you guys? You guys watch? You watching anything?
Yeah, we'll do your entertainment segment now.
Yeah.
I've been watching Why the Last Man.
Oh, okay, on Hulu.
I love the graphic novels. So I've totally like wrapped my wife into it too.
Mhm.
I'm pretty happy with how they've done it so far.
Okay, that's always good when you have hopes for something. Maybe
Yeah.
not huge expectations, but you're at least like, man, I don't screw this up, and then they don't, and it's actually enjoyable. It's great.
Unlike Foundation right now, we'll just spoilers for next week. That like Foundation is on an uphill battle right now.
Oh no, I wanted
Come
to
on.
try that. I wanted to watch that one too. Well, maybe I'll wait. But yeah, did either of you watch Chuck? It was like on NBC for 5 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
With Zachary Levi.
Yep.
So he had a poster of Why the Last Man in his bedroom on the show, and apparently he lobbied very hard to get the role, and he didn't get picked. So I was totally bummed. And my wife, that's like her one celebrity crush. So I told her that he was trying to get the role, and so we were both kind of bummed it wasn't him. But after that wore off, yeah, it's a pretty entertaining show.
That's interesting. I did not remember. It was like a comic poster. Like he had the
Yeah.
poster, like an advertising poster from the comic.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, Vertigo comes out with those. They're usually for, comic things, but they're usually for the stores. So it's like that's super nerddom there to be like, that's so meta. To
Yeah.
be like, that person likes their comic book store enough that they like ask the owner if they could have that poster.
Yep. Exactly.
Awesome.
What about you, Chris? You watching anything?
I finished What If.
Okay.
Okay.
That's a weird one. I don't know.
What was your favorite What If episode? Was the season strung together, or was it kind of standalone stories of alternate universes?
At first it seems like they're standalone, but they start converging.
Okay.
I think that's the biggest spoiler, but the tone is really, really funny in that show. I think
Okay.
there's like dark things that are happening, but
Can I watch it with Colby?
I think there's some scary stuff in the middle. That would be. So I don't know how I feel. I like that it's just more.
More Marvel.
Yeah.
Gosh,
I
I
watched
still
the
have to go
first few
see Shang-Chi.
Yeah, same.
Man.
Black Widow is now streaming on Disney, so
Oh, is it okay?
that is
Which
it
one?
did drop.
Black Widow.
off of
Oh yeah, I haven't seen that yet either.
expensive to it's not.
Supposedly it's really violent. I wanted to watch it with my 4-year-old, but yeah, it was like
I mean, yeah, she's a very violent
Just
person.
assassin. Yeah.
yeah. yeah.
Been watching Squid Game, the first few episodes. That's violent. So.
Wait, what is it?
Squid Game.
The
Oh,
Korean
It's
survival
like
game
a
show.
battle
Is that
royale.
Is
Like
that
Battle
a
Royale. Okay.
Korean
Yeah.
show? Is that what
Yeah.
that?
hmm
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It's sad. It reminds me. There's this anime. It's like Kaiji something, which is about like the horrors of gambling. And that show hits the same buttons of just like how bad gambling can be if you get into debt and owe people and takes over your life, that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's kind of brutal and dark, but I'm enjoying it.
Chris, I was laughing as doing research for today.
Yeah.
I was going through the Instagram reels, and one of your first ones you did was about Rising Sun,
Yeah.
and that's been I just got a copy last week and played it twice. And,
Yeah. Oh, that's a lot for a week.
I know. I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah.
Did you get any work done last week?
Well, I took Friday off. We had a convention here in Nashville. So gamed at that, and then I have my regular game night on Tuesday nights. So
Yeah.
I played it then.
Yeah.
So.
Did you like it?
Oh, I love it. I played it.
Okay.
It's the Keymaster annual game. We get together at Tantrum Con every year and we play it.
Yeah.
And that's normally the only time we play it every year. We play with Kevin from
It's a
Tantrum
longer
Con,
game.
who's got
pretty
a Kickstarter copy with everything painted. Yeah.
Nice.
Woo, baby. So I got my painting set up back here, and that and Ankh are both high on the list of what to paint next.
Yeah. Yeah, it's my favorite. And that's the thing that got me into painting. Now I need to paint more stuff because the paint is still around, even though the game is done
That's
painted. So
Like, what can I do with this before it dries out?
That's gotta feel good though to have everything painted, and just I'm the opposite. I'm like, man, I got all the things unpainted that I need to
Yeah.
paint.
no, it does feel good. I also confided in Andrew that even for a while I thought I was like into the painting part, but really I think I just like playing with the painted stuff.
Yeah,
I don't know how
for
much
sure.
I like the painted part.
For sure, it's definitely a flex. You know, you pull out the painted game, and it's a big flex. Cool. All right. Well, everybody needs to go watch some Dota. If you don't know, Dota 2 International, it's $40 million tournament. So everybody should go over to. That's what we should rate. I'm gonna rate it. I'm doing it.
See, Legends is over here like, what are you having to watch because of me? And I'm like, no, I'm having to watch these things because of you. I have to Drive to Survive. Very good, by the way. Formula One. I'm in it. I'm all the way sucked in.
I did. I got you roped into that one.
You did. You're like, let's go watch this Dota 2 thing. I'm gonna end up over there watching a game I don't understand.
Oh, okay.
Turkish Grand Prix this weekend.
I don't know if you're gonna understand Dota from watching. that's
I'll just sit there and watch it and be like, I don't
that's
know.
a deep rabbit hole there.
I don't have time for that. No time for rabbit
No,
holes.
I don't have time for Dota anymore either. But once a year, I get to come back. Twice a year. Catch one of the majors. All right, fellas. Thanks so much. Officially the goodbye.
Bye, y'all.
Any
All right.
final words?